Now, Southern Hot Button Monday, Dr. Earl O'Fire Hutchinson, our co-host. Let me ask you another question in the news, Doc, before we go to the phones. Former Vice President Joe Biden was on Politics Nation, my show yesterday on MSNBC, and he said straight out that these schemes by Republicans and the right wing is to deny people their right to vote. He said they do not want, I'm quoting him, they do not want blacks to vote. I also questioned him, and I played a part of the tape when I came on, about whether he would run in 2020. And he said that he didn't rule it out. He'll know by the end of the year, but he hopes some others step up, many of whom will be with us this week at National Action Network's convention. In fact, we kick off Wednesday morning where former Attorney General Eric Holder is going to talk about voting rights and gerrymandering, 9 o'clock Wednesday morning. How do you respond to the possible Biden run, and how do you respond to the impairment on voting, particularly as it relates to blacks, as he even went there, something you and I have been dealing with for a while?
A long while. And from the looks of things, Reverend Al, we're going to be dealing with it for a lot longer. And we have to. Because as Biden has said, and many, many others have said, and we have seen, voting rights continue to be under attack by the GOP, precisely for the reason that Joe Biden said. And he was very direct about it. They don't want blacks to vote. There's a reason they don't. Not because they don't like blacks. I mean, many of them don't. But the fact of the matter is, it's a political threat. If you have large numbers of African Americans that turn out, we saw that certainly in 2008, we saw it again in 2012, we even saw it in Alabama, in the senatorial race down there some months ago. You have large numbers of African Americans that essentially go to the polls with vigor and in numbers, then it spells danger for the GOP, especially now, Reverend Al, in a lot of those swing districts that essentially are up for grabs in November 2018, about 23 or 24 congressional districts. So think about that. If you have large numbers of African Americans that do go to the polls in those districts, it can tip the vote, tip the election to the Democrats. So, it's a political attack. It's a political assault. It's a political motive. And Joe Biden understands that. We understand that. And anybody that's looked at it, taking a second look at it, understands that. And they don't even try to hide it. You've had some recently GOP officials in some states that have flatly said that. I mean, so they don't even really try to hide it anymore. Now, as far as Biden running, that's intriguing, Reverend Al, because I did feel that if Joe had run in 2016, he'd be in the White House. I always felt that. He would have beaten Trump. He would not have had all of the issues and the baggage that essentially Hillary brought to the table. Almost all of it, as you know, induced by the GOP. So he would have taken a lot of things off the table. Plus, he's a man. So I thought he would have won then. Now, as far as 2020 goes, Biden did say one thing that I think is critically important. We'll have to keep an eye on this. And I know at the NAND convention, you're going to be looking at this very closely with individuals. Are there other Democrats, younger Democrats out there that are progressive, that have their political heads screwed on right, that essentially can go the long haul in terms of a grueling presidential campaign? So are they the right stuff for that? So I think we'll have to look at that very closely, as Biden is, and then make a determination later. I wouldn't rule him out, but at this point, Reverend Al, I want to see some more names.
Let's go to Allen in Baltimore, 1010 WOLB, home of Senator Larry Young. Allen?
How you doing, Reverend Al? How you doing, Dr. Hutchinson? You know, Donald Trump, I said this. You remember I said this when he was running, he probably going to be impeached? And he raised an issue that African-American people raised, like you violate my constitutional rights, raise my personal attorney's law office. Then what the FBI doing? Donald Trump, you learn from him if you're not personal. He's saying that you trust this government. Look how they doing me. They treat him like a white end. You know what I mean? If he was a black man, Donald Trump would be in the same rut we was in, because the FBI, they picking on Donald Trump. If they wasn't picking on Donald Trump, they'd be trying to solve some of these cases in Sacramento, Philadelphia, And look how they did Dr. King. Look how they did the Black Panthers up in Chicago. He's showing us that we talking about reading the law and reading the Constitution. Donald Trump is like a monster. You know, we had a first black president. We had Eric Holder. Eric Holder won for the American people. We ought to tell people like Eric Holder and Loretta Lynch, if you don't do no job, you're fired. These guys get these pensions for 40 years of service. Donald Trump even fired one of his own agents, said, if you're not on shift, I'm going to take your pension. If we start telling some of these Democratic plantation owners, politicians, if you don't make African-American lives much better, you're fired, we're going to take your pension. They're treating Donald Trump just like a black man if he just realized that he's against us. But I said, man, if I didn't know Donald Trump, I'd say he would be a black man from down south. Look how they go raid his office and they bring up prostitution, sex, all this stuff. You know who's the good ticket Reverend Al that I would vote for? Kamala Harris from California. If Oprah and all those millionaires and billionaire rappers put some money behind Kamala Harris, the problem is not living in America, it's how to live in America.
All right, thank you, Alan. Well, one, I think that Donald Trump, to act as though the FBI, as after Donald Trump reasons they were after Dr. King and the Panthers, and any of us, all of us have had our battles. And the reason they're after Donald Trump is very different. They have Donald Trump like they were after mobsters. They're looking for crimes. They're not after him for political reasons. They're dealing with criminal behavior like some of the mobsters that Mueller has put in jail and that Comey has put in jail. But in terms of Kamala Harris, you're there in California, Dr. Hutchinson, and Kamala Harris will be speaking Friday at the convention. Tell us about Kamala Harris. Is she one of the possible younger faces that could really go the distance and do something here, in your opinion?
Well, let me give the plus and the minus on that as far as her Reverend Al, at least as I see it at this point. But again, things can change. The plus is she's new, she's fresh, she's very aggressive, very forceful, has a great telegenic presence. She's a female, well, she's a she, and I think that's important in these times. I think that has a lot of weight, certainly with the women's fold in the Democratic Party. She has liberal credentials, which is second to none. And she's a vigorous fighter in terms of two major areas that are great concern for us, Reverend Al: housing and the criminal justice system. She was actually the former Attorney General in the state of California before becoming a senator. So, there's a lot of pluses there. What's the downside? The downside is I'm not so sure, Reverend Al, with the climate that we have now, and certainly going in, we'll know more after November, but just right now as we speak, going into 2020, my thinking is that my preference, I'd rather see, and there are a few out there, a younger white male from, say, the Midwest or the South, some of the swing districts out there, some of the bluer states, more red states, I should say, maybe even purple, that have liberal/progressive leanings, a lot of administrative experience, could be governor. At this point in time, that might be the individual that might be more competitive, given everything we see in the political climate now. With Trump, white males are still strong out there, very conservative. And so he's going to be playing that for all it's worth. So again, also the other thing, Reverend Al, coming from California, there's an upside, but there's also a stigma too, coming from the West Coast, we heard all the talk about that. So the only thing is, yes, she's certainly a potential candidate. There's no question about that. The only thing I say again in my response about Joe Biden, I just want to see more names, Reverend Al, at this point.
You wrote an article about Kaepernick and how he was delayed from tryouts because he refused to guarantee he would not continue his protest by taking a knee. He didn't say he was going to do it, but he wouldn't say he wouldn't. Tell us about it.
Well, I did write a piece, and I was very frontal about it. I said that Cap should stand for the national anthem. And I gave my reasons why, Reverend Al. He's made the point. He's made a point in a dramatic way. He challenged the NFL. He talked about and put it out there on certainly the sports table about racism, race, racial injustice, and especially the gunning down of unarmed young African-American males by the police. He put that out there. He made that statement. It had a lot of resonance, and our hats are off to him. And we supported him for that. We supported him unconditionally. The other thing that he did, he made athletes much more aware about these issues and willing to speak out on it. Again, I mean, we have all the accolades from him, but at the end of the day, you made your point. You're going to still be able to give tens of thousands of dollars to youth and justice organizations. That's great. But you have a duty. You're a football player. That's your profession. That's your livelihood. So continuing to do it is not going to add on any more than you've already done. Go on and play the game if you're allowed to. The only problem with that, Reverend Al, you and I both know at this point in time, even if he said, I will stand, I will sing the national anthem. You know, the majority of the NFL owners have already made it clear, you're not going to be playing our league. You're not there. Your career is over. Plus, the other thing is he's suing them, Reverend Al. That's going to be a tough one.
All right. Dr. Lepar Hutchinson, thank you much. I'm going to the phones. It's you and I, no other guests for the rest of the show. Hot Bud Monday, 1-877-532-5797. Shopton, keeping it real. Be right back.
Keeping it real without